Cook County is apparently continuing taxing firearms and ammunition despite a circuit court judge siding with gun rights advocates earlier this week. I've got reaction to some of that. It's Illinois in Focus Daily. I'm Greg Bishop, and you should get the podcast. All right, anywhere you get podcasts. If you can't make the program each and every weekday morning on video, you can listen to it. All right, so find us with Illinois in Focus. But you can also get the headlines in your inbox at thecentersquare.com. So yesterday we shared a conversation with John Bach from Gun Save Life. They had a case that they brought against the Cook County gun and ammo tax that was enacted back in 2012, and several groups sued, Gun Save Life one of them. That case stemming after the Illinois Supreme Court ruled against the gun and ammo tax, and Cook County modified their ordinance to continue the gun and ammo tax. So here we are now, 4 years later, and we get a district judge ruling siding with the Gun Save Life group. So we talked with John Bach yesterday. If you didn't get a chance to see that, I encourage you to go check out that video. But I connected with Dan Eldridge. He's with the Federal Firearms Licensees of Illinois, and also with Maxson Shooters Supplies and Indoor Shooting Range. And he said that the ruling, it took a while to get to it.
Well, it's thin and ambiguous and took almost 40 months to produce.
Eldridge, being a firearms retailer with an operation in Cook County, talking about the collection of those taxes and how this is impacted. He gives a lot of history here. It's important to hear him out.
Right. More than the retailer, we're also a plaintiff. We were the sole remaining FFL plaintiff in this case. So let's talk about the history of it. It started in the trial court where we lost, went to the appeals court where we lost, and they bounced us out as a plaintiff. And then it went up to the Supreme Court, Illinois Supreme Court, where we won, and they decided the case on the uniformity clause issues and stopped there, saying, well, we found it unconstitutional, so we're going to stop. And they left all the 2A, RKBA issues aside. Curiously, Ann Burke, the Chief Justice, stepped out during the orals and recused herself. To this day, we don't know what her conflict was, which is a pity because I think she was a reasonably good, by Illinois standards, pro-gun justice. So in a I wouldn't call it a dissent, but in a commentary, I believe it was Thomas Burke who pointed out that this was a foolish way to rule on it because the county would just go and pass another ordinance that comported with the uniformity standards or the uniformity clause of the Constitution. In any event, the Supreme Court kicked it back down to the trial court with instructions to grant us, the plaintiffs, our summary judgment. And in the 20-some days between when they made that decision and sent it back down, the county monkeyed around with the language a little bit and said, okay, well, we've addressed the uniformity stuff, so, all's good. Well, that's not really the way the world works, but that's the position they took. So we had a brief window when we were not collecting the Cook County tax, and then they instructed all the FFLs that, no, we made these changes, so now you have to collect them again. And then we sat and waited for almost 40 months for the judge to do what his bosses told him to do, which is issue us the summary judgment. So here we are, a very thin order because it doesn't really set forth any remedies. It says, give us our summary judgment, but what does that mean? What's enjoined? Who is enjoined from doing what? What version of the language is it that's enjoined? So we're sitting here in limbo. So in answer to your question, as a retailer, we are continuing to collect the tax pending understanding from Cook County about what they intend to do in this matter. Do they intend to continue to try to enforce it? Are they going to appeal this? What are we talking about here? Will they try to just crank out another gun and ammo tax? It's a different world now than it was back in, 2021, in a couple of respects. first respect, the makeup of the Illinois Supreme Court has changed significantly. So that works against us if this does get litigated again. But more importantly, you've had Heller Bruin and a bunch of pro 2A, pro RKBA cases decided by superior courts, which will make it much more difficult for the state to, or for the county rather, to defend something like this. So my hope is that they, in discussions with our attorneys, conclude that this is a Sisyphean task that they're undertaking. It's a further waste of scarce and dwindling county resources. And the reality is, this hasn't had any meaningful impact on safety whatsoever, and it's cost the county sales tax revenue from the economic standpoint.
Now, what about customers? Do customers want to go to a Cook County retailer to purchase firearms with an additional $25 tax on each firearm and a 1 to 5 cent tax per round of ammunition? That all adds up really quick. How does that impact the consumer in all of this?
Well, we have to make up for it however we can. The ordinance itself says that we can't just embed the tax in the price of the firearm or in the price of the ammo. It has to be called out as a line item on the receipt. So that means that we can't just consume our margin to collect and remit the tax. So we've had to, first of all, as a retailer, we try to provide a superior service level and a superior environment for people to shop and shoot in. And so that we're not necessarily competing on price with for example, internet sellers of firearms. In a lot of cases, we'll be close, but we will have that $25 tax on top of that. So we have, it's also a significant issue for ammo sales. Remember, this doesn't really scale it doesn't scale at all. It's a fixed price tax. And so when a box of 9mm range ammunition is $15, that $250 is quite a bit more significant than, during the pandemic when it was $30 and $40 a box. We have always provided a range pass with every firearm purchased. So, there's your $25 back. That's a longstanding policy at Maxons. But in addition, it's a significant amount of work to produce these returns every month. I mean, it's probably the better part of a man week to do this. And so, yeah, it certainly hasn't helped us. And I would like very much to have all of that work go away.
Anything else top of mind with this issue that you're at least looking out for in the weeks, months, years ahead?
Well, I think in days or weeks, we should have clarity with where this is going to go. And are we going to have to relitigate this for another 6 years? Part of me thinks that maybe Cook County doesn't want to be the test case in an ammo tax that gets held up or in a gun and ammo tax that gets held up as it's not a precedent, but it's certainly a parallel opinion for all the other states, cities, municipalities that are contemplating or implementing gun and ammo taxes. So, just like with concealed carry, they didn't appeal it all the way up to the Supreme Court because they didn't want to be the ones to be in the law books. Maybe that works to our advantage. I don't know. I do think that we should have some clarity on which way this goes in a matter of days, if not a week or two.
So again, thanks to Dan Eldridge from Maxon Shooters and also the Federal Firearms Licensees of Illinois. They're involved in a lot, including the challenge against Illinois' gun and magazine ban, which is still out there pending. We've got a lot more to share about conversation I had with him. So be sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell here with Illinois in Focus Daily. But back to John Bach. Yesterday when we chatted with him, it wasn't clear yet if Cook County was going to cease or continue to tax firearms and ammunition. Well, the word is now that they are going to continue taxing firearms and ammunition. Does that mean they're, as Bach says, going to continue being stupid?
I think ultimately, if Cook County wants to be stupid about this, we're going to be looking to the U.S. Supreme Court to strike down these targeted taxes of gun rights nationwide, and that's going to be a kind of an embarrassment for Cook County to be responsible for the end of this tax on guns and ammo that are commonplace in some of these other states like California and New York.
A lot more to say about that case, no question, but wanted to give you those updates as we get them here with Illinois in Focus Daily. Like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, get the podcast where you get podcasts, and we'll see you soon.